All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. Looks like everybody's here for attendance. Item 1 is approval of the agenda for today. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 2, approval of the ACC meeting minutes for March 7th.
I'll move to approve.
Wayne to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, we'll start with item 4, 56 Marigold Drive. For a deck. Looks like this was previously approved. Nothing's really changed. Just need a reapproval. Comments?
I'll move to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. '18 Sudden Valley Drive. This is item 5. Extension and reapproval. Andre? Looks like there was quite a gap between extension requests. Is there an issue there?
Yeah, between the previous one. Yeah, the retaining walls, even though they're under 4 feet, but because they're so long, they wanted.
Can you speak into the microphone so we can hear you?
Yeah. So the county wanted to, get it all, pretty much checked out and approved, even though it was under 4, but because they were so long, they, pretty much want to stamp that off. They're getting permitted. That's
Okay.
what the process is.
Was there a lapse for between approvals or extensions?
No, so it's, I think, due 24th. It was before. And because the county is pretty busy right now, they said, they need way, longer, more time to even get to those papers. They told us what they need. We have what they need. It's just, they need time in order to get to that.
Okay, so this would be your third extension, I guess.
Yeah, this is, my personal second one. So, but probably third one.
Okay. So you need 6 months from today?
Um, that's, I think, more than enough.
Any comments here? Extension for 6 months from today?
Yep, we have the county's permit.
Okay. Get a motion?
Motion to approve extension for another 6 months on 18 Southern Valley. Based on a permit that's presented to us from Whatcom County.
So 6 months from today.
Yep.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? Thanks.
Thank you.
Item 6, 1 Dawnbreak Court. Kenzie? Does anybody have any comments about the fence?
I'll move to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Thanks.
All right, 25 Stable Lane. Team here? Yeah. Yes, please.
What you guys ended up at?
Well, we'd like to hear your presentation because Joe Jean wasn't there, so
Okay,
what's your application about and explain what variance you're asking for. Give us the square footage or area.
Well, we'll start with the first one, which is the variance for the setbacks.
right, so, on this lot, this is, Sun Valley plot map of Division 6, it shows a road system. And this, keyway is part of the road system. And it was for access to the two back lots. And that's why this particular lot is cockeyed the way it is and coming down to a very small point in the front. The front survey lines are very close together. And that was because it was intended for this lot to have access via the keyway. And so instead of designing a house that would cut through the forest more and get us up into the lot the way it was drawn, we decided to do a very minimal keyway access, staying away from the very large cedar tree that's back there. And we thought it would be a great idea. It also saves us money, lots of money, by not having to dig further back into the lot, which is pretty much uphill. And I called Whatcom County Natural Resources and I talked to them about this. And they thought it was a great idea, for us to stay down, not necessarily dig into the hill further than we need to. The whole watershed issue, they're following state mandate to protect the watershed, they're dictated to do so. So we are all, under the same umbrella. We should be thinking the same way. We should not force people to dig further back into the forest, the natural forest there than they need to. So this was the thinking, so yes, to save us money, to save the environment, to save the neighbors from rock digging much longer than would need be. Because the further we can put on this lot, the less digging into the slopes, the less rock chipping, and all these things were considered when we designed this.
Was the county approve these setbacks?
Kind of what?
Did the county approve these setbacks?
Pending your decision, Sun Valley's decision. So they liked what we were doing, and they do think, there is room for improvement. This is a very old rule, and I would say, what's the intent of the rule? When we get into these more steep lots in the watershed, it's more difficult for builders to go forward. All the flat lots, easy lots have pretty much been built out here. Some people have some they're holding on to, but it's just getting more and more difficult. And so this is something to consider, the variance thing. I've been to many meetings and I've sat through many meetings and I haven't seen so much opposition to the variances. I'm not speaking about myself. I sat in the meeting last week and I think you, at one point you thought this was straightforward and something was going to go through, but then right away it went into, contention. And I don't remember what item it was or, but I just think there's a lot of arguing going, and I don't know. I'm not going to weigh in any further on that.
Right, yeah. Go ahead.
And then there's other things that I've read in the guidelines. They're that you guys would consider each case and work with people on hardships and these kind of things. So the 5 feet, so that's another thing is I had it wrong on here originally. I said that it was 6 inches or half a foot from that front property. It's actually 1.5 foot because of the design of our roof. It's not longer eaves, it's the shorter roof. And then it directly jogs back away from there. That's the closest point and it jogs back away. Now I wouldn't have even dreamed of asking you guys to, let me get that close to a lot line. But given this fact that the keyway was there, this 30-foot keyway between me and my neighbors, and I'm not really planning to use it and like do all this destruction that I could do. That's why I asked. And, you know, when we look at it, you know, we all see that even though that it's forward to the street 5 more feet than this side, it actually sits further back than this side because the way everything's skewed. And if you look at the original maps, it shows this area, it doesn't show like a concave, you know, void there that water fills up and trees are planted in. It shows paved road. And so that would have been a much easier access to get to this lot in particular. And so by them not finishing it off and making it the way it should be, this lot is like very awkward to get to. And so, in the way it curves away from the road, it's just like the house to the left is on stable lane proper, and we're on this little sidearm that's kind of like weird. And so we think that this house lined up with the house to the right, which is more naturally is, it wouldn't look bad at all. Like, I don't see anything that would be, you know, catch the eye and make someone go, oh, that's, you know, that's out of place, or that doesn't look right. You want to say?
So,
You're the owner, right?
yes. it's-
Okay.
And we work together. So.
So do you all own it or is it the LLC? No, but it looks in the records, it shows, it's the LLC that owns the property. Okay,
That's Susan,
right.
We own several lots and we have our home and we also have, we just purchased a condominium.
we pay 5 sets of dues a month, and, you know,
We have 2 kids that will come back again. And they want to have their kids here and we're going to raise the families. So we're building things that they can come back to.
and they grew up on stable. We lived right a stone's throw from where we're gonna build this house.
And we consolidated 2 lots to that. So it's a triple lot. That's the problem.
Number
Where?
45,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I think what we're looking at here is the Google Maps, and I've printed several of these. So we're just trying to follow the contour of these houses. And because this is a keyway that will not be used in the future, because Sudden Valley owns this one and this has been consolidated to that lot.
What do you mean it won't be used?
The keyway here will never be used by this lot because there will never be a homeowner at Sudden Valley's property. And same here, this is consolidated to that property.
The one behind us, I think, is what do they call it, parkland or Sudden Valley lot that they've taken back.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so that's what they did with the one behind us.
number 54.
High Cliff.
Yes.
Number 54, yeah.
Okay.
So we're just trying to follow this line because there's a natural shelf here that is an easier build. It doesn't push us back into this slope. And because of the large keyway and this large consolidated lot, we have plenty of room to position ourselves. This lot was drawn strangely because of the keyway.
Yeah, I
But
can
now
see
the
it.
keyway won't be used, so if
Right.
we could just kind of pivot a little bit, then we can position more cleanly in that shot.
Well, one of our concerns is, I mean, that is Sudden Valley property. It's not a keyway. It's not going to be used as a road, but people like it. People like the trees there and they like that space. We've got 2 letters from neighbors concerned about that space and that, you know, they don't know specifically what your plan is. But the fact that, you know, this is Sudden Valley property and it's not just a dead space, it is a space that people like and appreciate.
Is recorded as a roadway, as an access point for resident address. And it
But there
does-
is an extra road here now that circles around that provides that ingress and egress that, that this would have provided if you needed it.
However, the approach is very strange. Water right
Yeah,
So we had-
it
we
is
called-
strange, I agree.
Daniel, we called out, locates and they visited yesterday. And as it turns out, our water hookup is right.
Which one is yours? That's what I thought. This one.
Right here. It's been spray painted.
Mm-hmm.
Those two trees that are in the front,
Yeah,
they're gonna have to go because our water hookup is right here on the other side of those two trees. As is the sewer. So this is an as-built, from Lake Welcome Water and Sewer. And it's actually right back here in the dirt, not in the street. It's like if you went from our property over and you, here, can I show you? We took some photos of it yesterday. So this circle right here, that's the swing set back here.
Mhm.
That's our lot through there. That's the cedar tree in the front.
right.
That circle is where the sewer is. So it's way back. We were just there. It's way back over here. And our lot's way up here.
Okay. Well, we're not determining whether trees will stay or go at this point.
Where's the sewer? Can you show me?
So this is the as-built from Lake Welcome Water and Sewer. Oops, got the wrong one or what?
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Same
sorry.
survey, except these trees are
Mhm.
marked. For surveyors.
No, and this is your lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there another little road?
There is a one-lane
Oh,
road that goes
well, there's,
like around this and back, but
Yeah.
it's not very wide.
well, it's, right,
Yeah.
it's not as wide, but it's not, I don't know what to call it, but it's just like this. I mean, it
No, we're
comes
not
off,
talking about that today.
stable lane goes this way.
Right.
And then you can come up here and be parked right in front of your,
You could, yeah, you could, if a car parks on the street there, I don't think there's room for another car to get through.
right,
But, and then if we tried to come this way and then access the lot, it just becomes very difficult approach. And then it goes pretty much straight up. So it's a steep slope to try to make it. And the front line is what's the footage on the front survey? Yeah, it's really small because of the
See-
pie shape.
like,
But here is the as-built from Lake Welcome Water and Sewer. Miguel came out yesterday, and this is our lot 25. This is where the sewer hookup is. It's not in the street at all. It's like way back here. And these pictures I took, they circled where it is. So that's the circle where it is, about 4 foot down. See, it's right there.
and where's your lot?
It's right
It's over
back
there.
here.
Oh,
Yeah. So we'd be coming down through here to get to that.
let's see, is this that house right there?
It is.
Okay, so it's over here someplace?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's right, would come right through this tree and the tree next to it, right through the root systems to
Okay.
get to it. And then here's another view of it. It's right here. That's the views.
And that's the little road I was talking about.
It is, yes.
I just wondered why it's not any on
Would you
maps.
speak in the microphone, please?
Speaking of the microphone.
Not recording.
So I'll just leave that here for
Yeah,
now.
we're just getting all the clarifications and we'll make,
So,
Yeah, The recommendation of our geoengineer was to build on that shell. As he said, he's talked a lot from the county about it, and they, are all for it if you guys agree. It eliminates the heavy equipment that we would need and it's less invasive. And it's in line with the neighbors. And it supports the topography of the lot.
I mean, to us, it just makes a lot of sense to do it this way. For financial reasons, for, you know, the whole, everything that we talked about makes a lot of sense. And I would add, I don't know if this makes any sense to this lot. Number 7 stable, which is what we're doing now for our other daughter. That is where, I think it's High Cliff. Comes down to the stop sign, it's a one-way. So we have the corner lot right there. So I talked to Joanne about this. When I raised my kids there, High Cliff, where it came down that steep corner, down the stable lane and the T-bones into it. It was only, you know, X amount wide. It was, you know, it was, yeah, it was a single car basically is what it was. That's how you got down. Yeah, because it is a one-way. At some point, you know, and there's no record of this, Joanne couldn't find it, or, you know, I'm just gonna leave that there. At some point, someone came and they widened that road. And you can see it, if you go drive by it, you can see the cold joint where the road was. And then you can see that the road got widened, so it came over. When they did that, they actually took a big portion of the lot, our lot there. And it's totally cut off and it shrank our lot by a considerable amount, over 5 feet. I'd have to do the math on it, but. Yeah. And so.
Also that, also that, and.
Oh,
And so we had actually.
Can you talk in the microphone?
so what John is getting at is, okay, so they came in and they widened the road and they took a big portion. Our property pin is a metal pin hammered in, and it's hammered into the street, and it's way out in the street. And so instead of, like, you know, causing a fuss or, you know, like trying to pursue it, we just accepted the fact that our lot has been, you know, big portions taken. We have to do things, you know, smaller and just move forward. And so, yeah, so this is what happened because of that decision. Well, not because, but in, you know. So when the road was widened, the handhole, which is where the power goes to that lot, it was moved. And just like there's no record of that, there's no record of that being moved, but there is a map that I have, and I can show that map, share that map with you guys. And what that map shows is that the power was out in the middle of the street where the lot got taken over from. And then, so we looked for that. And I spent about 7 months with PSE trying to locate this handhole, because that's how you connect to the power.
Sure.
So there's a vault across the street. And finally I got a supervisor out there, and John and I were there, and we opened the vault and he's looking in there and he determines that there is a conduit, you know, that goes over that direction, but it looks abandoned, is what he says. It looks abandoned. So long story short, I spent about $8,500 to get my power hooked up. But
Just, are we talking about around High Cliff Lane?
we're talking at High Cliff and Stable, or Highwood Circle, I'm sorry. Highwood Circle and Stable.
There's High Cliff.
Stable Lane. And then Highwood Circle, where this comes right here. See, the map is wrong. If you look at this map, this shows the street over here on the other side of lot 9, they're saying. Well, lot 9 doesn't exist. Lot 9 is completely gone. My lot is number 7, and they took a big chunk of that too. So the original road was on, I guess, lot 9, but then they widened it and they took a big slice of our property here. Well, the PSC map shows the power handhole was right in between 9 and 7, about midway right here. So that got paved over by, you know, 5 feet of pavement right there. So the mystery was, well, where's this handhold? How are we gonna hook your power up? You know, and they told us to find it. And so we had locates out there several times. We had the supervisor for locates. He came out and it was like, well, you know, we can't find it. So PSC said Patelco was to blame. He said, well, Patelco used to run this place and, you know, they didn't keep good records. So, you know, and then they dangled a credit to me, a $6,400 credit. They said, you know, don't tell anyone about this, but we have a $6,400 credit if you have the permits to build this lot, it's never been built on, you know, stuff like this. Well, 2 weeks later, he took that back. He's like, oh, you know, I shouldn't have said that, you know, that's not a thing. And it was like, okay, that's just part of the process. So. Yeah, the paving of the road is what, you know, moved that. And so so where is it? You know, no one knew. So I did talk to Joanne and, it was a short conversation and she just said, oh, well, I'll talk to my attorneys. I don't think we're responsible for anything. That's what she told me. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I didn't drop. I was like, I'm not gonna pursue this. This seems like a deal. So, okay, so then what happened is finally, February 15th, I think. So this is like 7-8 months since we're trying to get power to the property. Yeah, I'm paying for generators, you know, I'm buying all kinds of things to have my workers working. Patelco shows up because they're gonna do the work. You know, PSC is the company, Patelco does the work. When they pull up to the lot, John's there, and they pull up and they go, oh, this property. And they go, I don't know what all the fuss is about, and they have a map, and on their map, it shows that the handhold is at the corner. And that's what happened was right before they came, I paid excavation company to come and dig it across, you know, prepare for PSC, following what PSA told me to do. And when they came across, they cut the street and they went over to the corner there, boom, there's the handhold. So what PSC did was, because he came out and looked at the vault and he thought that there wasn't power going that way, he decommissioned it. And so he told me, because they decommissioned it, they're not responsible. And I have to foot all the bills for it. So I was like $8,000. And when Patelco rolled up there, they said, I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. And they had a map on their truck and John saw it and it showed it right there. And then what happened? Oh, and then he goes, why would we lay you line? This is live. And John's like, what? And he goes, yeah, there's live wire right here. We can just connect you to this right here. And John said, well, PSE, you know, after an hour on the phone, the guy goes, nope, we're gonna hook you up right here. None of this is necessary. And so that's where I am. That's where I'm at with that one.
All right, well, for this item, we're looking at variances
Right.
front and left of the house. Just as another comment about this, we do have one neighbor who said they couldn't be here, but they wanted to raise concerns. We do want to raise our concern in our neighborhood's development. We live at a lot adjacent to the keyway between. We would like to have the keyway honored concerning keeping the 3 large trees on the furthest downside within the keyway and any kind of foundation to have the appropriate buffer from that keyway boundary line. Whether it's germane or not, this is a comment that a neighbor said germane to this item. But that's they asked that this be included in this meeting. So there is concern about that area, that Sudden Valley property. And that's something that we consider in our decision.
Sure.
We completely understand,
Yeah.
because those trees are, there are 3 of them. One in the back is the largest.
It is, yes.
The one in the front is beautiful, one just behind it is smaller. Opening it up would, you know, at least highlight the larger one behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in order to connect our power, unfortunately,
Or water.
our water going to,
Go right to the root system of those trees. I mean, if you go look at the property, because that wasn't there when we were there, right? The circle, because they just did the.
I mean,
location.
I didn't see the circle. No, I know which trees you're talking about though, and I know which ones they're talking about too.
I understand that, because I've lived here since 2001.
and that's why we purchased the 2 lots on either side of 45 Stable Lane, because they were full of cedar.
Mhm.
And we do love the cedar.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we saved 18 trees when we did that. And then the lot we hung, this lot, Sudden Valley took it back, so those trees aren't going anywhere. And then the neighbor to the left of us, his
Saved like 9
his
cedars.
huge parcel, I mean, that's one house and that whole entire area is trees. I mean.
Okay, well, the trees that would have to come down would, that would be a different meeting and that would be, a new construction where we would determine that. Right now, we're not talking about the trees, but we are concerned that, a variance of, what did you say, 1.5 feet would, impact the trees more than a setback of 5. Anybody else have any comments about the request?
We don't have a site plan and we don't have stakes that match your survey. Um, No, that's fine. If this is what you submitted to the county, that's what we don't have. Right? So we don't have your actual house laid on a topography showing how much of the property or the property lines that it's occupying. And then we don't have the area of the variance. We just have your rough proximity to the property line. So we need the area, square footage that you're asking for the variance. And then we also don't have the types of trees. They weren't ribboned when we went to the property. So we don't know how many trees that are over 12 inches in diameter that you're planning to remove.
So the square footage
That's
of
not-
everything
that's
would
not-
be within the
It's not
setback.
it's not a drawing. That's a sketch over top of the, do you have a site plan that you would submit for permit?
Not yet, because what was happening, we went to the county first, our geoengineer said, go to the county, see if you're going to trigger a geohazard, and see what they say about positioning.
Mhm.
And so this is what we submitted.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have, so facts are, we don't have the actual drawings. 2, we don't have your geohazard report that should be stamped by a licensed engineer. And 2, our final, when we went to the site, we asked, there's no reason why you're already encroaching the 340 or whatever. So we don't see any reason why you can't back the property another 5 feet.
This is
Right, so it's not actual.
that we wouldn't spend
Understood.
in order to create a site plan.
Yep, yep.
We're coming to you to say, can we? create
N-
a site plan?
And what we're saying is we don't see the reason why you can't back 5 feet and meet the setbacks of 20 feet.
Okay.
It was argued that it's nicer and whatever, but what that drawing just showed me is you're already encroaching on that elevation anyways. So moving back 5 feet, abutting that tree, and you're gonna have to remove that tree anyways for construction.
We will
You're
have
co-
another.
Yep. Yep.
We'll have another.
Yep.
Someone was saying $30,000 worth of extra.
We don't know that. We don't know the building costs, and neither do you, because you haven't excavated. So how do you know what the actual fund? Have they drilled? Show us what was the drill? What did they
They had to.
get on the
asked
core?
to do
Did
that.
they do a core sample? Did you hit rock at 15 feet? You're gonna have to go down 15 feet, right?
I didn't hear.
You have to go down 15 feet to build your foundation, correct? So why wouldn't your geohazard engineers drill down 15 feet to tell you what's the core sample?
I don't know of anyone that's ever done a.
Well, you're,
Drill test.
and I don't know, right, and you're telling me that you already know the price of moving back 5 feet.
Well, it's wrong.
No, but on that property, please.
Generality of my experience.
Yeah, but what we're asking is this property, because that's what the application is about. We're not talking about another property, are we?
Okay.
Fair, right?
I don't understand the resistance to that.
There's no resistance. What we're trying to understand is why can't you move the house 5 feet like we explained to you? Because you're already on that same elevation. There's no proof of a geohazard moving 5 feet. You just don't, I can't be convinced. So if you ask me to be convinced, show me the facts, I guess. I don't have the facts, and what I'm looking at is a sketch on top of something I can draw to, right? I'm not convinced I'm ready to
Yeah.
vote on it. I'm not ready to vote on this.
Or does it take to be a majority, or does it take?
What is the quorum?
Go ahead, Dan.
I believe it's two out of four.
Quorum is four,
Quorum
and
is-
then majority.
Right. The majority, so three.
Great.
Three.
Thanks, we didn't, I was curious about how.
No, you can eliminate me.
Front corner. So we're not just excavating for the foundation, we have to excavate beyond the foundation.
Well, I think the situation's pretty clear, and I realize that it would be a hardship to meet the setbacks that we require.
Is outdated, and we did the lots behind have been, it's not buildable.
I guess like what she's getting at is, we're just curious, why is there such a resistance? Because there is the keyway, they didn't get used.
But the keyway is not just your decision, right? It's all of Sudden Valley, right?
So
But why
resistance to a variance.
why are you making a decision on a keyway? Yeah. Why?
Watched the way you treated everyone, during the Zoom meeting, and it blew me away. I never met you or knew who you were, but everyone that asked for something, you were just like kind of volatile to everyone. There wasn't like-
It's no volatility intended. It's asking for facts, and the keyway is owned by everyone in Sudden Valley. It's not just your decision. I live next to a keyway myself.
Now, a variance that we would offer is, we look at each situation on its own merits. And, given what you've presented, we'd consider that, but we also have other neighbors that, are pushing back a little bit, and we have to consider everybody. I mean, I understand your situation, I really do, and I think everybody does. And there are a lot of sites that are out here now that are getting a little more difficult to build on. And, we can't start offering more and more variances because they're more difficult. These are the variances that have the setbacks that have existed for a long time, and we really try to stick by them. I don't know if look at the past year or so, we really try to stick by them, and there has to be a really good, compelling reason. And you make some good points, but because there is resistance from neighbors, we have to consider that too. And I can't think of any variance we've given where it was as small as a foot and a half on the side of the house. I mean, I don't know how you would create a path or something around it. How would you walk around the house?
A foot and a half variance.
Yeah, that's.
You want-
Portion of the gateway is.
I mean, I took this picture yesterday.
That is Sudden Valley property?
Um,
that?
Sudden
thought-
Valley property?
This line.
Speak into the microphone.
Yes, this is the front corner of the house.
Yeah, and so it looks to me like that's 5 feet, not,
Do you have a document like that?
they said this wasn't, see, this rope string goes up here.
Oh, no, it's actually here. So that's the front corner,
Yeah,
and then this is 15 feet back to here, and then there's a string right here.
Yeah.
You can barely make it out. This is the foundation coming down. It's actually
corner of the foundation.
it's the actual corner of the eaves. And we were off, I was off because I thought the eaves were much larger than they are, but they're not.
And where is this on this?
That would be right here.
Okay, so the picture you're saying here is what you want to build, yet this is how you staked it out for us to see the other day.
Correct, but this is this front corner right here. This marker is this marker.
Oh,
Yeah, and then this is this.
Okay, and it's only a foot and a half.
It's a foot and a half. Yeah, I know it says 0.5
Okay,
right here,
yeah.
but it's actually a foot and a half. That's the distance from here to the string. Brad was, we were talking a little bit and you said, is there compromise at all? I was just curious if, is there compromise? Yeah, you asked, said, yeah, we're willing to work with you guys, and, we can maybe figure something out. I'm just curious if you guys, what you guys thought from your side.
Daniel, did we want to bring up the other letter from Cyril and maybe address some of those concerns that the neighbors have?
You want to go over that? That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another neighbor.
This is Cyril Greenewalt.
I know Cyril, he doesn't know it's me though. He's my old neighbor, so I don't know if that'll change anything, but yeah, I know Cyril.
Okay, he says, I'm writing this letter in regards to the builder's proposal to clear cut and develop lot 53 in Sudden Valley and the common area adjoining this lot owned by the residents of Sudden Valley. I don't think you intended to clear cut your lot, did you?
No.
No,
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, the county would never.
yeah, we're just gonna take trees that are in the footprint of the foundation.
Right. And let's see. And they're concerned about protecting the safety and health of property and residents of Sudden Valley, allowing construction on lot 53 will impact the safety of 104. Okay. My,
This is exactly why we forward.
Wanna hear what?
Yeah.
wanna hear what Cyril said.
So I said, my main concerns are, one, there's not adequate and safe street access for parking or safe vehicle maneuvering on stable lane in front of the proposed site. The road area abutting is too narrow with a heavily treed center cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac and street flood during heavy rain.
Okay, what do you say about the water? Fill us with water?
Mhm.
So I talked to you guys about that when you were there. And when we bought the lot, I remembered, oh, and then I watched what happened. And it did fill with water. And I was like, this has been going on since 2001 when I moved here. And I remember being scared for my kids. Like there's several feet of water that this thing is filling up with. And why doesn't this drain? Like what's going on here? And so when I was there on this lot, I saw a little kid and he was on a small bicycle with training wheels. He was by himself. I don't know whose kid it was, but he was right there and it was full of water. And I just thought, wait a second, this is sketchy. This is not, something needs to be done. So I talked to Mike Brock and I brought it to his attention. I said, hey, there's something going on over here and, I think you guys should pay attention to this. They came out several months later and they had Stremel gravel there and they did a road cut and they put a big pipe in and that pipe drains across stable lane to the other side. The water issue doesn't even exist anymore. And the neighbors don't know that I did that. No one knows that,
And the way it's plotted, it is supposed to be a cul-de-sac. The
yeah,
area is a,
yeah, it's meant to be paved over. That concave natural area shouldn't even be there. And so if that was paved over, the access to my lot would be, it wouldn't be an issue. It'd be so much easier. But they didn't actually finish it. They just left it open and made some little road around it. Georgine was talking about, and that road is too small. And if you try to do some weird driveway, they're gonna back
Right.
into that
Yeah.
area. It's just
What,
like,
what lots do you actually own on Stable Lane?
we own number 7 and number 25. We used to own 45.
Okay. So when your kids were growing up, they were on 45?
We lived at 45 Stable Lane.
Okay.
Yeah, right behind Kansas.
All right. Well, he goes on with concern number 1. The narrow street area currently becomes congested with parked cars and is in unsafe condition due to a lack of parking rule enforcement by Sudden Valley Security. Vehicles exiting the cul-de-sac in front of this property lack adequate visual exposure due to trees located in the cul-de-sac to turn onto the main stable lane road area. This represents a safety and health hazard, which will be increased by the proposed construction.
That
I'm not sure about
This is a
we
buildable lot.
penalize because Sun Valley doesn't do their job.
I understand what Cyril's getting at, but I think he's pointing the finger in the wrong direction.
Okay, let me,
Oh, that's a neighbor. This is
Yeah.
not Patrick's.
number 2 is cutting any trees down on this common area or lot 53 will expose the root structures of the very tall trees on the hillside above and to the northeast located on lot 54, currently owned by Sudden Valley. It would significantly increase the possibility of these trees falling onto homes during windstorms and heavy rains, thus damaging property and persons to the southwest and west of the common area in lot 53.
To that, that's why we are trying to move the foundation forward. We're trying to be in the flattest area, so we don't have to destabilize the hill behind.
Yeah, the more
So
we
the,
push back into the hill, the more trees are gonna be affected, root systems, all that. There's that natural shelf that we were on down there. That's why it's such an ideal place to build also. And if, like, just bringing that front corner 5 feet back, that means when we go to excavate, we're gonna be digging that much further back into the hill. And so that's what he's talking about. We're not going to leave any trees that are unsafe or, we all know what we're doing, you guys and us, John.
Well, the
Bill.
only impact is to an alder that's too sure it's on its way out. So.
Did you have that document showing your undivided interest in that?
it is on plat maps. It is, because of the way Sudden Valley is, how funny things are out here. It's written on different plat maps, so divisions are written as P1s in the earlier divisions, I think. And once they got to division 5, 6, they just became part of the road system.
Hmm.
And but the CCRs do mention keyways and driveways being basically the same.
And I've built on many keyways, driveways. It's just always been a thing.
Yeah, he just did one on his Fairway?
Fairway.
Yeah, so he has complete access to the house he did on Fairway via the key one.
Okay.
It was not an issue, period.
Okay, number 3 was the road frontage for lot 53 currently floods twice a year, making it unsafe to access.
Sun Valley, it's not. It's culverts on both ends of that, and they have not maintained the ditch like they've done both ways on that road. But they neglected to do that portion of the ditch.
So,
We would culvert the area when.
yeah, so the neighbor to the right, there's culvert, and then when they fix the concave area, there's pipe going across that way, and then John has video of rain and water that comes down, and it goes to the left to the guy that owns the big property. And what he's done is he's made, I'm not gonna say him, but a previous owner, has made that kind of a parking area. Now, he has culvert under his driveway that doesn't daylight on this side of his driveway where our lot's coming down to. But then on the other side of his driveway, it's a ditch, open ditch, and it connects across the street. And then it goes behind, Stable Park, like through the woods that way. That's where all the water goes. So the gentleman to our left, and I read about this too with Sudden Valley. Sudden Valley's gonna have to get involved and make that functioning,
That's also in the CCR.
yeah,
Ditch maintenance.
ditch maintenance. And so that's what that's supposed to be. In the past, people wanted
As it does most roadways. Everywhere in Sudden Valley, we've lived on roads. We're X amount of feet from the road. Here, the road doesn't even meet, It's far from the property. That is why there's a parking issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why there's parking issues. Why someone created a parking space.
And I want good, I'm just saying this, I will go talk to Sarah, I will go talk to
Yeah.
him. I've known Sarah for years and years, and he's done, home appraisals for me, and that's his job, and, we go back a long way. His daughter bought my car, my old car, his daughter bought it and went to Florida with it. So I know Sarah well, he just doesn't know that I'm the current lot owner, and I think I can talk to him and address some of his.
He goes on to say, residents currently use alternate routes to safely exit their properties during the rainy season.
I have no idea what that means.
I've paid really close attention for the last 2 years on that lot. And since they fixed the island, that's not an issue.
I don't know what alternative routes could be taken.
I think that
The
100-year
split
storm we had, I was there watching, it. That's why there was major flow going through all the culverts. Fast and down. And, there was no water on the road.
So for stormwater, because for stormwater, that was another thing that, we were thinking,
geoengineer.
yeah, thinking ahead, what do we do for stormwater? And of course, it's to go into a ditch, is the easiest way to do it. So his culvert coming under his driveway, and then essentially where does it go? It's under a parking space, and it's like, it doesn't daylight. So it's like, well, water over roadway, it's because of that. It's not because of our lot or anything our lot's doing. It's-
Yeah, and those things would come up in the new construction application, and you do over that with Joel. Do you have any other issues?
Continuing on at number 3 goes, removing any trees from this hillside will increase the water flowing off the hillside onto the street, across the street, and into the yards of properties located along the southwest side of Stable Lane.
Removing those 2 trees, that's zero effect.
Yeah, and again, that's something
Yeah,
that's something you'd work out with the engineers and Joel, and we'd review that
Yeah.
at a later date.
I think,
Minimize their impact. by Creating a small footprint and asking to move it.
yeah, and I think what he's getting at there is water over roadway. And I have seen that. And this is a low area down there. I've seen water over roadway. That water over roadway was coming from that concave area that Sun Valley fixed once I pointed them to it. So that doesn't exist anymore. Water coming off that lot over roadway is another part where that could exist. That's because the neighbor to the left does not have the culvert open, does not have the ditch open. They made a parking spot. It does the culvert, doesn't daylight, there's nowhere for that water that's flowing down that hill, going into the natural ditch to go to. So it comes over the roadway, and that's where Sarah lives. He lives directly across the street. So that's what he's experiencing. And so, yeah, I can see what he's saying. He's concerned because of that situation, but we're not going to,
Anything our construction may help. that
but it
situation.
will improve the situation because,
as long as Sun Valley alleviates
The ditch
the
problem.
ditch
yeah,
problem.
fix the ditch,
Like shutting-
back to a ditch and the culvert, and that water will go directly in front of the guy across the street's house, under his driveway, down that way, and then across to where it's supposed to go.
Which it was designed as.
Yeah, and that's the way it was originally designed. So whoever permitted the parking space for that property, whenever they did, they weren't thinking about all this. And so the neighborhood's been suffering without us doing anything for years. But I understand what he's saying.
Anything else for yourself, other than the comments from the neighbor?
No.
Yeah, still, my concern is not the frontage, the 15-foot variance. Mine is definitely the 1.5 feet on the side. Anybody, how do you feel about that? Fine. Can you, I told him we would, we'd try to consider compromises. Is there any compromise you would be willing to consider at this point, or anybody else?
They cut the corner off.
We talked about that at the site.
Yeah,
So we said, could you reverse the driveway? So that was a consideration, but they opted not to. They'd rather keep the living space on that same corner. And they don't want the
Where
driveway
is
on the
the
same side as the
The
neighbor.
driveway is coming
It's
here.
gonna go up the keyway, right?
Yeah, it's gonna
Well, the
use
kiwi's
those.
over here.
The keyway goes way up
Yeah.
here. We would just use a very minimal portion of the keyway, but what I was,
And so your garage is gonna be right here?
yes, it's a
Okay.
single car garage and it's here. We can't flip it and put it here because the street here is already a one-lane street. And to try to negotiate one-lane street and then try to get up to here, it would just be so steep, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then people trying to drive in and out of it, it would just be a real hazard. Makes more sense because it's a lower approach. The elevations are lower on this side. And then, we just had locates come out, Miguel from Water District 10, or Lake Welcome Water and Sewer. And that's what I was showing you guys is our sewer hookup is actually through right where this
Oh.
is anyway. And so we're gonna have to cut through these roots to hook our sewer up. Cause that's where our spot is to hook up, so.
Like, it's just a point where we will approach the lot line and the rest of the lot line jogs very quickly. So it's not as though we're completely on our lot.
So that's what Susan's saying is this
Yeah.
1.5 feet right here, this is the closest point, and then it immediately cuts back away from this line.
How
So
did,
we're
how
not-
did you, at one point it was 6 inches and now it's a foot and a half.
Yeah.
What's different?
Realized that the roof lines, because we were thinking of a roof line that goes all the way around. This is sloped and flat forward and back.
So the eaves is what she's talking about.
The eaves.
There's not eaves over there. They're not coming off.
The corner of the foundation, we're actually asking to bring it to 2.5 rather than 5. And then the eaves are the portion that encroach just a bit further, but it'd be like this much, you know,
So as close as that is, it immediately
2 inches.
walks away from it, like, in a big V shape, like this is going this way, the house is going that way. And so, yeah, and you can see that right here.
I'm seeing an overhang on this one from this elevation. You said there's no eave?
Okay, Susan. So on this roof line right here, this is what Dan was pointing out.
Oh, yeah.
There is a overhang. So
So
on,
the corner is where we would be touching that 1/2 foot if we were, it'd actually be 1.5 feet. Because we're planning to have only a 1 foot eave rather than going further. We're gonna have 1.5. So, and it would be at a pinch point right here, and then the rest jogs away from the line. because the
okay,
line
but
travels that
there
way.
is eve here though. It's not that there isn't, there actually is, just smaller than what we're traditionally trying to do. Right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so there is actually.
there's a small corner where the eave will be at 1 and 1.5 feet from.
We can get a
So
definite,
the-
we
so the
can,
3.5 foot variance that
yeah.
they're- as a result.
So, and then the deck, remember you said, hey, what about the deck? And I was like, man, I don't have those numbers right now, I guess apparently it is not a setback issue.
Mhm.
And or we won't make that a setback.
Okay,
We're not trying to do that.
okay. Alright.
As it is drawn, it's not a setback issue, is that correct?
It's at a 1.5 foot away
The
or
deck,
about the deck.
yeah.
The deck I need to consider, and so that would be part of the site. plan. We would pivot it around.
Yeah,
back
we're not
of
gonna
the
make that a setback issue. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, and we want this, that's not a thing, we'll shorten it or keep it away.
Any other comments, questions?
So what are we looking at now then for the variance on the left? On the side,
3.5 feet.
3.5 feet?
So the eve would be 3.5 feet from the setback?
No, 1.5
Oh.
feet. So the variance request putting forward
Okay.
now is 3.5 feet. Before it was 4.5. So 1 foot less. Is that correct?
We want to, so the 5-foot setback,
That's right.
we want to bring our corner to 2.5 feet. So, and our lot lines would like. the
No,
lot line,
we're, okay,
then
so variance we're asking here is
we're
including
asking
E,
for 2.5 feet.
so no
to
E,
the
so no E. No overhang,
corner.
because you just explained to all of us that it's 1.5 feet with the overhang. Now it's,
Yes, in my mind.
Want it off
I
or on?
think of the two as being independent of one
no,
another.
no, we're looking at total overhang. Like if from a plot perspective, yeah, we need to see the total overlap.
Uh,
So we're still at 0.5 over.
No, it's 1.5. But you said we can go to a 5-inch overhang, 6-inch overhang? Okay, so we could remediate it to a 6-inch.
So right here, Don.
That's why a plot plan for the survey is makes a lot of sense. Then we know, right, you're asking us for this. And
Okay.
But
we
there's
didn't,
an idea in.
yeah, so
So,
since it's in flux,
So we
can
could
we ask
access-
another outcome here? Because I'm not trying to be difficult. I know it was portrayed that I am difficult.
Oh.
Because there's no facts in front of me, so I can't make that decision. So is there a reason, not just thinking out of the box, right, to help you out? Is there any reason why you can't shrink the length of the, or the width of the house? To make it fit? Is there a reason?
it is a very small.
There's a lot of reasons, actually.
Well, I mean, it's cheaper in construction because you got 2 feet less to build the entire square, the
I
length
mean,
of the
the
house.
entire layout would
Right?
have to
I can
be
save you money that way.
That's like back.
And
to the
then
drawing
we're,
board.
then we're,
Facetious.
I know,
This is.
it's
this
an
is a
option.
Term that, sorry.
You're fine, you're fine.
Is there a room, is there?
John just told me that we can go only 6 inches.
We're trying to fit it into the lot. If you don't want to move it back,
On this eve.
trying to fit it onto the
So
lot. right?
if we only go.
You're
6
adamant
inches,
saying, I gotta
then
be 15
That's
feet.
going to,
from
what's the math?
front.
So.
Tell me why you can't shorten it.
Right, so we go only 6
And then
inches here.
we're asking to bring about, I don't know how many inches. of
Well, you're 2.5 feet.
overhang.
Yeah, you're 2.5 feet. It's variance.
The eaves that you were thinking.
I'm not sure where we are.
How big were the eaves?
John was saying 1.5.
That's when you drew it, it was 18 inches.
When I drew what's presented in front of the president, it was with an 18.
Okay, that's all we
And
need
it
to know.
was with the corner point of the
So
foundation
18
being at
inches,
2.5
and John
feet.
saying you need 6 inches. That would make this a foot. So Joel, this changes this front corner.
Good.
We add a foot to it then,
So
right?
it's
So
3 foot
it's
variance.
at a 6 inch. Now we're gonna add a foot to that away. So now it's 1.5 feet. We're not at 6 inches anymore, we're 1.5 feet. And we can achieve that by making that E, taking it from there, pushing the E back to 6 inches instead of foot further.
So 3.5 feet, what we settled on in terms of the variance request. Because it's no longer 6 inches from
Yeah.
the lot line. And then that overhang that originally when we went to the property the other day, would have been a request for 4.5. Now it's 3.5. But I'm curious as to why we can't achieve a smaller,
Well, shrink the house
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
foot.
Actually,
because it's the
Yeah, okay.
foundation that's. the
I
problem.
I think we've got enough information.
I mean, we're not here to design the house.
I think we're just uncomfortable with that much of a variance. I, that's what I'm gleaning from this. I think we need a motion at this point. Wayne?
I shouldn't be making the motion.
The compromise discussion, remember? Did we didn't discuss that?
Well, we have a couple of, right, I don't want to make a motion where you already know my answer. If we're voting on what's being presented, it's clearly not on.
Wayne? Speaking of the mic.
so he's asking us, which is fine.
like, we have so many changes, so I would deny this application until you resend us proper redraw and then consider the other options to meet the setbacks. If you're not willing to
So
go back a little bit,
let
then,
me ask, are you comfortable?
because I'm very considerate facts, right? If the geohazard team says, look, we can't build past that shelf of, was it 340 or whatever that elevation level? And quite frankly, the way you drew it, you were already encroaching on that elevation. So there's no reason, right? I mean, I showed it to your builder and said, look, why not rotate it?
Yeah, I didn't have like definitive, don't go past this point, if you go past this point.
I'm
this
pretty
height.
certain, like, your builder's gonna tell you, no matter, we can meet the setback, but I still need 10 feet or 15 feet to excavate back there to get my foundation in. Like, I've seen houses being built and I've had to oversight
We
them.
never go over a 5 foot.
Yeah, exactly. But if there's a tree or a hazard, you probably will have to
And there is
work
none.
that around it. You're gonna have to put a retaining wall, right?
There,
You're gonna have
well,
to
we
put a
can go
4
two
foot-
ways. We can do a retaining wall, which really eats into the hillside more because we have
But you're gonna have to
more
protect
out,
that
or we
hillside.
can put a foundation higher.
Yeah.
and
But
get
you're gonna have to
slope-
protect it,
and
right?
Get slope away.
Yeah, it's quite a steep.
Yeah.
property you
exactly.
have.
So we'd rather not continue back and make it even steeper by.
Oh, no, but you're
Back
only,
with the retaining.
yeah.
wall.
Your bench that you're already at is already 2 feet to the next elevation, so it's not even bad,
Yeah,
right?
but we're gonna be right on the edge
Yep,
of that, so
yep.
it's coming down to
The
that.
tree.
And from that bench, it goes. cranks
What we're
straight
talking
up.
about is there's a tree there. If, and we discussed this when we were out there, is that if you rotate it just on that one corner, you can meet the 20 feet quite easily because remember the whole house just angles a little bit more up the hillside. There's a tree that's right there. You got about 4.5 feet. So even if you rotate, you're gonna get your 20 feet variance.
Yeah, I
You
think our,
won't even have to, you won't need it. No, your house on the one corner, next to your neighbor on the left, right? That corner, when we stood there, it wasn't even parallel with the neighbors.
We disagree with you.
I know. It's one option, don't,
We're not trying to do
please, I'm not
all right,
trying.
well,
We're not trying to do.
Well, we're-
parallel, Trying to make it actually aesthetically pleasing.
yeah, we're not, we don't we're not here to give you advice on how to work with it, but I think, I feel comfortable with the uncomfortable with the variance on the side. I think it sounds like Wayne's uncomfortable with one in the front. I think there is still room for compromise somewhere. The 15 personally, I'm fine with in the front. But I am very concerned about the side variance. So the keyway section.
It is the key way.
Yeah, because we are hearing, neighbors' concerns and, some of them will be addressed in the engineering and in the new construction request.
Hey, Daniel, you were saying Southern Valley property, referring to the Kiwi days.
Yes.
And when I read the regs, the ACC guidelines, they say that we have a 25% interest in that property, being that, it is a keyway and it serves 4 lots, that we actually have a 25% interest. Is that true?
I don't know that that is true. You do,
Yeah, it's.
I-
so it's been
if you
recorded.
could, it sounds like we're going to deny as you presented it today. But if you could, maybe compromise on the actual square footage of what your variance would be, how much encroaching you would be doing, and also show us that documentation. These are all things we'll consider.
So if we're going to redraw, should we still come forward the 15 feet and then just try
Dan
to?
would say he's okay with that.
I can't speak for the rest of my committee. I think what I'm understanding from the committee is that it's just a little bit too much of a variance that you're requesting.
On the side variance.
For me, the side, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe Wayne what's your main concern? Are you really concerned about the front or the side or
Well-
just the amount, square footage?
I'm
Trying to help them with.
I'm trying to help, but I guess there's resistance as to why you can't rotate the house, and there's argument that doesn't play with me because I don't see the facts that why can't you move the house back 5 feet? I just don't understand. And you'll also achieve that corner overlap. It'll be a lot shorter when you're done. But anyways, that's just me.
Are you saying move it back 5 feet or to rotate
Rotate,
that
they
corner
can keep
5
the
feet?
one corner because it already meets the 20 feet.
Right.
They just need to rotate the whole house up the hill, which they're already on that elevation. So I don't buy the argument that there's a geohazard.
My question is, why, so a setback, I understand to keep two properties from building close to one
Mhm.
another. But this is adjacent to a keyway with a large lotted house further away. So the setback,
But everybody has equal rights, right? Just like you proposed, you said we have 25% interest in the decision of that keyway, right? But, you know,
we're not encroaching on the keyway. We're-
no, well, you are on the variance, right? Because you're supposed to be 5 feet from the property line. That's what we're talking about at this point. Nobody seems,
For some valley documents, we have a 25% heatway, so that's why we asked for this, that we get down that corner, that close to it. Like, I want to buy a regular lot and come to you guys and say, hey, I want to be like right off that line, really close to my neighbor. None of us would consider that. The whole consideration was there's a 30-foot keyway, 30 feet of space between.
yeah, so the keyway is intended just like a right of way is, right? You're always given access to your property off that line, right? So that's not what we're talking about here. You always have access. You can build your driveway from that property line off that keyway. That's a non-issue.
I'm not sure that's true.
Well, there's many houses with already that access. But the key is you can't build a property like a structure less than the
A
setback,
permanent structure.
right? And that's what the issue is here. You're asking us to approve a variance less than what other people do.
And to be considered on a individual basis.
Mhm.
And we're not actually encroaching on the keyway. We just have one corner with a small amount of square footage getting closer. Just a small.
Well, actually, so if you come back, so if you draw it, get an architect or somebody that can stamp it, right? Something that you would submit to the county, right? Not trying to be difficult. This is the process, right? Because you're asking us to envision with pictures and there's, like, when we walked out there, first it was 6 feet, 6 inches. Now, tonight, we find out it's 1.5 feet difference, right? So I think, let's get it resubmitted.
I think we're all willing to compromise on our committee. So if you could just minimize that encroachment, I think we can get somewhere.
Like if you said your eve, like I've seen other variances where we've approved it because it was just the roof line, right? They met the 5 feet. They got that corner shrunk a little bit. I don't know how they did, but the representation when they resubmitted, they just asked for the variance of the overhang of the eve.
How far did we push off the neighbor's, property at all? Did we come off the neighbor's property? We're talking about this job we're talking about tonight. Like, we're at the 20-foot setback there. Did
On
we?
the right side, we're 20 foot.
Okay, so we're at 25. Okay, okay.
Right.
So
Then you have a
if
very
we shorten the E, okay.
You see what I'm getting at? Like,
Yeah.
I understand what you're,
Yeah.
I understand what you're asking.
And I love the word compromise, I'm
Yeah.
I'm okay with the big sticky, that's, what I'm thinking is if.
we want you to build this. Okay? We're not, like, I'm not here to say no to everything.
I
point is-
apologize.
The point is, everybody else is building with a setback, right? Still, if you come in and ask for something reasonable, says, hey, sorry, our overhang, we forgot about it. We need it because it's gonna help our house, protect it from.
All of the reasoning is sound. I think the square footage
You
is
shorten this
small.
one too?
I agree, it should all be redrawn
Then
and fully lined out.
We can push the.
Let me, from the corner point to
So then we get another.
Yeah.
And then if we rotate up a
the
little.
keyway,
All of a
is
sudden,
how,
really.
right now it's what, 2.5 feet?
All of a sudden, we're pulling.
So
that's-
we're asking, the corner point to be
that's fine.
2.5 feet.
You know,
Okay, but as you go further up here, that's going to increase. And, you know, at
Well-
some point along there, it's going to be
Got the
5 feet.
condition in Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's just a small point. And if, as John was saying, we will take this down to 6 inches, we would actually be at
So the
3
eaves right
feet
now
forward,
are
so 2 feet
18,
away.
18 inches.
Mhm.
So how we just gained that foot was instead of being 18 inches on the eve, and I just said this to Daniel, that we take that eve from 18 inches, we make it 6 inches. Because it doesn't have to be 18. So all of a sudden we're there. We do the same thing on the front of this side,
And we can
then
move,
we can move the house this way.
yeah,
So we have that extra foot too.
yeah.
We've also seen other buildings where they just lop them and they achieve their 5 feet because they save 2.5 feet on one side. They moved the house and shifted it.
Yeah,
So there's
Okay.
different ways to win here.
yeah.
Okay,
We're not asking you to shrink your footprint necessarily. I mean, there's other ways to achieve, maybe make it longer the other way. I don't know. Like
All right,
if you're
well-
set on 1,400 square feet, as I see here on the application, there's other ways to achieve that 1,400 square feet, right? So
Yeah.
all we're saying is you meet setbacks that we're talking about. And then you come in and ask for a variance, that, oh, our overhang on the one corner is maybe now after you play with this a bit, you know, get somebody to actually take the survey and then draw the setback line. You'll get the area right away. Like most computer aided drawing systems will tell you the amount of variance right away. They'll tell you right away. And you can play around with.
We have that covered, yeah.
Yeah, like if you already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've seen this done in a million ways to achieve.
Yeah.
Because the systems all ask you, hey, what are the policies, what are the setbacks?
Right.
It's pretty
I'm
simple.
coming from the standpoint where I've been
And I can-
25 years.
And I can calculate the cost of the cost of
And
the house.
so I'm just like, it seems like such a small ask.
It's simple.
it is a corner.
It's just. a corner.
Patrick, did you have something?
Yes. Okay, so if this is the keyway and here's your house, this is the 2.5 feet here. But as you go up here, you know, how far are you gonna have to go until it's gonna be 5 feet? So you're really only looking at, you know, a variance for just that little
It's a-
triangle of stuff, you know, it's,
Yeah,
and it's on the keyway, so it's not really, you know, it's not infringing on somebody else's property.
No,
Yeah, I mean, it immediately jogs off too, like the angle of the paper, what you're seeing. It's just, if you look at the drawing, like right here, the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right there, but immediately it's creating a big,
Bigger.
you know, it's.
Yeah, the setback is
yeah,
gonna
it
be much.
seems like a big
It's good.
ask,
It looks-
but it's
looks
just,
big like that. But yes, taking one step further, when you get your drawing, just see after you lock, take off the eaves on both sides, see where that line sits, and then play around with how much. You may have to ask the variance.
so would you prefer that we ask for a variance on the right side rather than, stay at right side setbacks?
I don't think the neighbors would be happy about that.
With
Probably
the-
work
the
against you,
setbacks?
actually. Because you have a house.
I would think so. It's
Yeah, the other way is a lot easier to say.
Mhm.
And house variance, and say, hey, are you over on 1.5 feet or something?
Mhm.
Maybe,
So-
and then your edge structure is perfect, it's 5 feet.
You know, I got a variance from you guys on that number 7. And the
I-
number,
did
the
I?
number
No,
7, the number
no.
7 was.
You were here, Daniel.
Daniel was
joking.
here. and Number 7,
I'm the misnomer.
Eugene, it was that,
Guys have
even
threesome.
though that left side of the property got taken, and then, you know, I had a very small footprint to do. I got a variance to keep away from this neighbor,
To give more
to
breathing.
give him more breathing
You know
room.
where, you know where all the setbacks come.
Mhm. I mean,
So
on
how, like,
square lots, it
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
I'm aware of it. I've never driven down a road in Sun Valley and been like,
Ordinarily,
oh, that doesn't pay, you know, this is that. Well,
and I
there
have
is
seen,
one.
I've seen houses close
There
together.
is something that I've
but-
seen on Windward that, you know, I think you were all opposed to, and I think there was sound reasoning for it, and.
Do you happen to know the square footage of the encroachment into the setbacks?
I think
as
it's
it stands?
small, But I don't. have
She'll
the calculator.
calculate.
Yeah,
So we'll,
Okay.
we'll.
So
Make a motion to.
deny as presented, but
submitted.
I think you've got enough of our conversation to know where we're headed with this.
I appreciate all of your comments and all of your help and,
And your design obviously is, in consideration of the property and we appreciate that.
and it actually gives us a lot more food for thought. We're just learning as we go. And, we're trying to figure out how things work.
Yeah,
And don't-
I
and don't-
talked a lot, from, Greg Paul, or, Greg Paul represented the lot. He said that keyway was, we had 25% interest, we're good to go.
But he's not your lawyer, right?
He was- we all know.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's,
He's your real estate agent.
Yeah.
He wants to sell you the lot.
I would like to see,
That we've done this
And
for
precedent.
the last
I mean, he's
25
been
years,
selling
and so if the rule's always been there, fine. So we just have to learn that.
yeah, well, yeah, if you do see that documentation somewhere, include that with the next presentation. And I think, we're willing to compromise. It's just a little bit too much of an ask. And I think what we have is a motion to deny as presented.
That was the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I made the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Wait, on the motion, what about the front variance? Are we denying
Not-
both variances?
We're denying the whole thing at this point. They're gonna,
It's not.
they're gonna
not
bring it,
properly submitted.
they're gonna bring it back to us with some other ideas.
Who made the motion? Joe Jean?
Wayne did.
And Joe Jean's
And that's just the variance?
Yes.
first item.
First item.
And did you vote? I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And for item 8, that is the variance of square footage. I mean,
I don't believe that we actually need to make that one. They're saying once you've all met at the lot. Go ahead.
We'll make the motion to approve.
as long as the total square footage remains the same. Anybody second?
816 feet.
Yeah. Plus garage. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Who made the motion?
Wayne,
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Wayne made the motion
made the
and Daniel approved, second.
Vote, sorry.
And we all
Yes.
unanimous.
Unanimous. That one was easier. Thanks so much,
So
guys.
hard to follow.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
I think I would go and talk to those neighbors and let them know who you are and kind of what your plans are. And
I'll tell Sarah, I think the guy to the left, that has the big property.
Right.
I was telling you guys, I talked to a different gentleman and the house hasn't changed hands since then. Except, maybe he's a father-in-law, maybe, I don't know,
Mhm.
but just the owners is still the same.
Are you talking about the property?
On the left.
Ones that had the unpermitted parking spot there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, so-
I talked to a
You,
gentleman,
you can let them know. You're gonna Build your house at Upper Culver. They're gonna have to, he's gonna have to pay.
I can let him know, I think I'll let you guys know.
No, we don't do enforcement.
So the point is that you're not supposed to fill that.
Yeah.
That's enforced. That's the problem. I've been trying to get it so.
Yeah. Well, we're looking for people if y'all are interested.
I was actually thinking about going through a couple of weeks ago. I know that, I can't vote on the big shot for that, but, I was,
So things like that should be reported to us, right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that once you get to the construction stage, they're gonna have to somehow pay for that culvert going through their house, right? They're gonna have to put that,
Yeah.
10 in.
you guys might get more letters.
But
We knew it was going to be in this area.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I was saying is I talked to a guy that lived at that house and his wife still lives there. I don't know who the other gentleman is. He was fine with it, really nice guy. He came down to the other number 7 and, everything was cool. I don't know who this other guy is, but nobody.
Yeah, I hadn't.
Well, for me personally, I mean, even if, your neighbors were cool with it, 6 inches is asking a lot. Even 1.5 feet is asking a lot, especially since you're asking for the other variances too. So, yeah, we'll compromise. Get there. Thanks.
And one last question, the tree thing, so are we good on the driveway? The approach?
We haven't even
We
looked at that.
haven't looked-
Yeah, that's
like-
something that you talk with Joel about, and then it's presented to us and we look at it, but yeah, we haven't even
Yeah, before you
considered
vote,
that.
when you figure out
So
where your
come back
house is
that
gonna
you can
lie,
see before.
just ribbon those trees and
Mhm.
just be aware things that are over 12 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
And get a hard look, right? Like the county's gonna expect, okay, you're gonna rip this tree, you're gonna plant 2 more trees as a result. So that
Yeah.
one end in the back that I suggested to rotate your house and
That's controlled within our landscape.
yeah, so
For the county.
you can ask for the trees to be removed because Joel's gonna look at it. But you're gonna need minimum 5 feet. I would take it as much as you can, right? Because you wanna make that foundation proper.
In between the driveway and the
Yeah,
sewer. and
yeah,
the-
exactly. So
So the
Ribbon-
the
ribbon
kiwi
the
trees, that's a discussion for us to have with Joel.
ribbon all the trees and then Joel will come out and take a look at it and
Okay.
say yay or nay.
Including the kiwi.
I don't know if we can make a call on the keyway. Yeah,
Are you saying for us to talk to Joel about that as well?
Yeah, and then you'll present what you talk about with Joel to us, and then we'll look at that.
because Joel's gonna wanna know how far back your edge or structure is gonna be, like where that foundation's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's gonna calculate 5 feet from there or whatever you say you need to work back there, because if it's a retaining wall, you're gonna need probably a little bit more room to work with it to get that wall up properly, right? And then to your neighbors that are talking about the root system, right? What you don't want is debris flow, like there's water coming down, right? You
Oh,
can
yeah,
see, you
right.
can see the 2 natural lines that are coming from the top of the, what is it, the other street on High Road or something.
Right.
As we drove down there and we could see 2 lines form
Yeah.
all the way down.
That's what we don't want to go.
So you're gonna have to make sure you've got a retaining wall that diverts that water away from your home.
Yeah.
And that'll help, I have to believe your structure is gonna help divert that water so that it doesn't pool down. the
So-
wall.
Our home is built on a slope that is very low. And it has deep root footings. So that would further our approach to that line, but it does mitigate water flow.
You're gonna help it.
Yeah, it would-
You're gonna help it because whatever your builder's gonna be doing, he's gonna make sure he's gonna put some sort of pipe to divert that.
Oh, yeah,
water
we-
away.
Right.
'Cause
We do
There's no
4 inch,
way-
double
no way.
4 inch, and then fill it all the way to the top of the foundation, with gravel, bring it on.
you can build a fifth.
My basement don't leak.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
Trust.
thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
Well, that went quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, item 9. Driveway drain slope change. This is 6 Sandalwood Circle. My understanding is that this was designed as a driveway that was supposed to slope up toward the house, and now it is sloping down. There was no request for this change. It was just done, and we are stuck with it, and they're asking us to approve it.
And if we deny it,
Well, I don't know what that would mean. I mean, are we asking them to tear it up? I mean, I'm sure there will be some fines because they didn't ask for a request.
Was it county approved?
I don't know.
So that's one issue, and just like and then second is, if it's not county approved and it's not engineered, then, we can't vote on it, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if
So
Joel
three.
gave it the approval or what the situation is, but it is done.
We need to see the as-built, meaning the final drawing.
Yeah, this is all we have.
Yeah, but it's not properly submitted. It's like, I'm not gonna look at it.
Not even gonna look at it.
It just says Axe Engineering, which they know better. They're supposed to get it approved by the county and stamped.
So at this point, you are saying deny as presented and we want more information?
Yeah, I make a motion to deny as submitted because it lacks the county's approval.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 10. 93 Harbor View Drive. These people would like an elevator. We drove by the front and didn't see what the need for an elevator, and then we drove through the back and we saw that there are 4 stories and an elevator would be helpful. It looked like it was up against the highway, which, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there's no noise issue with an elevator. Not much to see from the highway either, so I've got no problem with it.
I
I'll
move
move.
to approve elevator.
This is just in concept, correct?
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Number 3?
Yeah, number 3.
Oh, yeah. The driveway, I think. Yeah, in kind, I guess they're just replacing the driveway. It's gonna look the same, just crumbled. All,
Yeah, I'll move to make a motion to
Did
approve.
they already replace it?
yeah,
Driveway looks better than mine.
should have shown us some close-up photos.
Yeah.
All right, there's a motion on the table.
Who made it?
Second. Wayne. Move to approve.
Aye.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is it then, right? All right. We will adjourn this meeting at 7:33.